And then I started really listening to my patients and what they were looking for. They wanted the whole package. They didn't want to keep going to the doctor for that next pill because they know that's what they were going to get. They wanted to start healing from within and healing naturally.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Healing Hands Chiropractic Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Dawkins, and I'm joined, as always, with an amazing human being, Dr. Tracy Rush. Dr. Tracy, how you doing this morning?
Wonderful. Worked out this morning already and ready to go.
You're well on your way. You're well on your way. I want to start this podcast with a little bit of gratitude because, it seems like just a few episodes ago, Dr. Tracy, we started a conversation that we really felt like the world needed to hear. And we invited the world in, and we have listeners coming from all over the world every single week to this content, and we're just honored by that. And so we just want to say thank you for the now we're on the cusp of close to 20,000 views for folks that are joining the conversation, whether that's the little pieces of content or the big podcasts. We just want to say thanks. And so out the gate, if you're listening, why don't you drop a comment and let us know where you're listening from? Because I know we had a lot of folks that are you're in the hometown, but some of you're on the other side of the country, and you're hours away from here. But you found interest in this conversation. We're just grateful for you. So, but just like we always do, we are jumping in. We've got a 5-5-5. We're going to get personal, Dr. Tracy. We're going to get professional, and then we're going to have some fun at the end with some, this week we're going to do some would you rathers. So maybe a little easier to answer, but we'll see when we get into it. So you ready to get personal, Dr. Tracy?
I am, and I want to actually thank you. I have on my long term goal to be an international speaker. Well, I don't have to go to other countries to be an international speaker and never thought of it. And so you were instrumental in that. I realized I've hit my goal. I'm an international speaker.
Yes, you are international. And how many people get the opportunity to speak in front of 20,000 people? I mean, that's what a gift. But thanks to technology and also, here's the thing. A lot of people are talking, but not a lot of people are listening to a lot of people. People are listening to people who have something to say, and you have something to say. And so I see this message as one that's just going to continue to grow and continue to reach a larger audience. So, but you've lived a full life so far, and you feel like in some ways you're just getting started. We've learned a lot about you over the episodes, but I want to keep that going. So we're going to jump right into question number one. And this is we've shared a lot of pivotal moments in your journey, but I'm wondering if you can look back and share a pivotal moment in your career that reaffirmed your passion for holistic health and wellness.
So I said my story, but really it's my son's story, my firstborn. So I was in chiropractic school, and my son we kept him breastfed for 2 years, organic foods. We did all the right things. And he ended up with ear infections or an ear infection. And I'm in chiropractic school. I'm there. And my husband's in chiropractic school. And we made the mistake of going through surgery because the doctor said he's going to lose his hearing. He's going to have issues the rest of his life. And we went ahead and had the tubes put in. That was our mistake of doing that. We didn't trust chiropractic because we didn't have a whole history with chiropractic. So that really was pivotal when we look back later on and said, we should have never have done that. We should have trusted the innate intelligence of the body to heal, giving it the right tools and not going down that medical road.
Well, I'm sure that makes you empathetic for a lot of the patients that you work with that have probably also made some decisions for themselves or their kids that they wish they could go back and undo. But I definitely can appreciate, talk to me about that a little bit more though. So you had that moment. Do you feel like you were able to right the ship or go back and almost fix what was broken? I don't want to use too strong a language here, but How did that reaffirm your passion for holistic health and wellness?
Well, I mean, we watched the process of the tubes falling out after he had the surgery months later, and we're like, what was the purpose of all that? Like, really, what was the purpose of that? And to this day, he doesn't have hearing issues, but he has tinnitus. He has ringing in his ears. He's a musician. And so it's sad because, yeah, our decisions affected his future, and we regret it. And that's where we said, nope, no more. We're going to trust what God has given us. We're going to trust chiropractic for majority of our health concerns.
I can appreciate as well that your son didn't sell himself short after that. You know, growing, you said he's a musician. I mean, that's incredible that where he struggled with hearing, and now how important is that sense when it comes to creating, you know, a beautiful sound, and he's a musician. I think that's incredible. So probably a testament to you being an awesome mom. That's what that is.
Oh,
And raising him up with some confidence and believing in what he can really do. So you just said you're a mom. I know you have passions and hobbies. You stay busy. I'm curious, with all this going on, how do you balance the demands of running a practice with your personal life and your interests? You know, and your kids are more grown now, so maybe talk about the struggle a little bit and how you overcame it.
I'm still working on it. I'm not there yet. uh, it's a weekly thing. It really is a weekly thing that I still try and balance it. In the beginning, building up the practice, it was all work. Now I had two small children, so I'm grateful for my mother-in-law taking care of the kids while I worked on the practice, while my husband and I worked on growing the practice. But there wasn't a balance. There were, for many, many years, there wasn't a balance. We'd be at seminars and leaving our kids with other people, and now we're removed from that. We're more established, but and our, like you said, our children are older. But I still struggle with it of my personal time. I don't give myself enough self time.
Mm.
I have a little bit, but I don't give myself enough of it, letting my brain just quiet down and relax. Actually, right now in my backyard is they're making a concrete pad. I have a waterfall in my backyard, so they're making it an oasis because that's where I need to go. I love being outside, so it's like that's going to be my place to go.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I think about, especially, you know, you're a doctor, you're a practitioner, you're an educator, you are a visionary, and you're making a huge difference in your city. And I think one of the things that some leaders may discount is how much you can actually learn from the people that you're teaching. You know, and so I'm wondering if you look back on your years, what maybe is one meaningful lesson that your patients maybe have influenced you in your approach to chiropractic care. What's one thing that you feel like stands out in time in the last 25 years that you've learned from a patient that's affected the way you practice today?
It's the whole body, meaning we're now functional medicine. So chiropractic for many, many, many years. Chiropractic, only chiropractic. And then I started really listening to my patients and what they were looking for. They wanted the whole package. They didn't want to keep going to the doctor for that next pill because they know that's what they were going to get. They wanted to start healing from within and healing naturally. And so that's where the functional medicine came about. So that's been about 6 years ago that really started transforming because we started listening because they're looking for more. Our patients are just, people are looking for more. They're tired of that medical model and everyone's the same and everyone's put on those same pills. They're not seen as an individual.
Well, as someone who's always learning, I know we have a lot of folks that are listening in because they want to learn. And so, and some of them are in the health industry. Some of them are practitioners just like you. And I'm wondering if we could give them a piece of advice as you look back on your own journey and your own experience. what's one massive piece of advice you might give to an aspiring chiropractor or someone young, new in the profession? What would you say to them?
Mm. Trust the process, number one, that have confidence. I mean, build that, have that confidence and trust the process. And I thought about that. Get help. We know to do it on our own. I mean, this was our livelihood. So we joined a management group. We just joined a chiropractic management group. We've been with them for 23 years. We're with the same management group. We've added others to the mix to mix it up, to change it up. But to get help, and you're not an island out there.
Oh yeah, I love that. So trust the process, get help, and you're not an island. I like that. That's probably good advice for any young professional, right? So I appreciate you sharing that. I'm thinking about how much you know about chiropractic. That as you're having conversations with folks, you're probably having to start with a few nuggets that are the essentials when you're thinking about what you know about chiropractic that you wish other people knew about chiropractic. What's one thing about being a chiropractor that most people might not know or understand, but you wish that they did?
That we're more than just back crackers. I mean, when they come, oh, you're going to crack my back when I say I'm a chiropractor. Oh, can you crack my back? And I'm like, no, it's about health. I am a doctor. I've been through 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of chiropractic with my internship. I'm a doctor. And I don't just crack backs. That's not what I do. I don't walk on your back, no. But that we have so much more knowledge about the body than what people really think we know.
Mm. I think about I was actually talking with my wife about this last week, was how I started calling my chiropractor my doctor. And it's interesting how it feels a little like in some aspects of chiropractic, you'd rather just be called a chiropractor, not a doctor, so that people understand the difference between I'm going to go get a pill versus I'm going to go get real health, or I'm going to deal with the symptom, or I'm going to get to the root cause. That in some cases, chiropractors would rather just be called chiropractors and not doctors, but at the same time, to understand the level of education that you have to put in order to be a chiropractor. You are Dr. Tracy Rush, and no one can take that from you. And I think that's I think that's the backing that is literally changing the community right now. So thanks for sharing that. That was fast through the personal, but it's time to talk about chiropractic. Again, we're looking at questions that people are asking about chiropractic. And I love this first question, and I can't wait to hear your answer on it. So how do chiropractic adjustments differ from treatments like physical therapy or massage therapy, and how do I know which one to choose?
So I actually had to look things up. Like, I had to know. I mean, I go to a massage therapist, and I know it's relaxing the muscles and getting the lymph to flow, and um, finding those tight areas and working those knots out where I've overstressed my muscles. So, massage therapy, different than chiropractic. I'll get into chiropractic last. And then physical therapy, I'm like, all right, what is their premise? I mean, they work on the muscles as well, their joint mobility. So I actually had to write stuff down. So their purpose, I mean, this is what I found online. So if there's physical therapists on here, I'm sorry if I'm not doing this correctly, but improve performance, help injured or weak and ill people improve movement. They help pain, strengthen muscles, rehab. That's physical therapy. So then chiropractic is, as I said before, restoring the communication, removing the interference where that subluxation is, that misaligned vertebra, to allow the body to start communicating between the brain, the body, the organs back, and it's that communication, getting rid of that interference. So we're working with essentially the central nervous system. We're working with that nervous system. So it's more than just moving that bone, relieving pain. It's that central nervous system getting it communicating correctly.
That's an excellent, excellent explanation. And I can also appreciate that you looked it up. I think there are a lot of docs that don't like to stay inside their scope. You've been heavily educated on chiropractic, and you're just being honest to folks to say, you could have gone a different route. You could have gone into massage therapy. You could have gone into physical therapy, but you chose chiropractic. And as a chiropractor, you have folks that come to you for all sorts of reasons, right? And so what I'm curious about is when you take what you know about the principle of chiropractic, and then you've got 100 different needs that come to you, people that are in pain, people that are sick, people that are, like we talked about before, people that want to have a baby and they've heard that chiropractic can help for all these different reasons. How do you personalize a treatment plan for each patient's unique needs and conditions?
So we treat everyone as an individual. You're not cookie cutter. So I'm going to go because people come in mostly for pain, low back pain, I'm going to say. But your low back pain is going to be different from the next person's low back pain. So I'm looking at the whole picture, the whole entire thing, and saying, all right, how long has this been going on? So that determines how long the treatment plan is. You could be in your 20s or 30s, and you could have had an accident when you were 5 years old. And so that's 20 plus, 30 plus years of problems versus someone who's in their 60s and the accident happened in their 50s, say. And so the treatment plans are going to be different. They're not going to be the same for everybody. And so we do individualize it and look at the person as a whole.
And I'm sure they appreciate that. But I know you've got folks that are working with several healthcare providers, they come to you and maybe they've already seen four other people before they get to you. And within the chiropractic world, it really depends on where you are and who you're working with to understand how does that conversation go. So as I'm thinking about Healing Hands Chiropractic, you have someone that's coming to you and maybe they're on medication, maybe they are seeing a physical therapist as well, and they come to you. How do how do folks play well with others in your areas? I'm thinking about collaborating with other healthcare providers like primary care physicians or physical therapists. How do you do that to ensure comprehensive and coordinated care? And I ask that, I'm curious, but that's also, I think, the number four most asked question about chiropractic. So how would you answer that question?
So we are transparent. We are transparent. If a medical doctor says, "What are you doing with this patient?" or we are more than welcome to give that information. At a patient's progress report, I do a summary sheet, and we send it to that primary care doctor. So I keep them informed, saying they're progressing the way they should be, they're not progressing, these are the functional things we've seen. I've never, every patient I do this with, find who their primary, we send it. I've never heard back from any of their primaries saying thank you for the information or let's work together. We just, I don't know if it's exclusivity here. I don't know. Physical therapist, I will contact them, give them notes, give the patient a note, say, hey, why don't you do this? Or let's work together on this. So I have more communication with physical therapists than I do with primary care. There are some neurologists that don't refer to us, but we are in mutual contact. Yeah.
What is the because I know within the medical profession there's the HIPAA compliance, right, where there's sort of like you have to be careful what information you share. Does that also apply to the chiropractic profession?
Yes, definitely. But we get that permission from the patient. Either they'll say, yeah, I want you to send my x-rays over to my primary care. So they sign that. Or we get one from their physical therapist or medical doctor saying, can we have their notes? And yep, then we honor that. So the patient still has to give permission to do that.
Okay, all right. And let's say someone got into a care plan at Healing Hands Chiropractic. They're working with you, and at some point you're in the journey with them, and either things aren't progressing like they should, or maybe along the way, and this could be from one of the other providers or one of the other treatments. I really kind of just need to read this question to you, because I'm still trying to wrap my brain around it, but maybe the listeners will understand if I just read it here. What signs or symptoms should I watch out for that may indicate that I need to seek immediate medical attention or adjust my treatment plan? It was
That
asked,
was
but you answer it.
that was a loaded question,
Yeah.
but it's understandable because if you don't know about chiropractic, you don't know what to expect. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen to me. And unfortunately, there's stories out there that are out there. I mean, in mainstream and TV shows that a chiropractor hurt this person. And it's so little. I mean, it's so 0.01%. I mean, it's very minute. But the things you should look for is I'll tell a patient if they're coming in with we call it a hot disc, like a herniated disc or a lumbar problem, a lower body problem. I say if their pain is so severe, they lose bowel or bladder control, that's immediate to the emergency room because I know at that point the spinal cord is compromised. They need to get immediate attention. So if they cannot control their bowels or bladder, I've had that with some patients and they've called me and I'm like, get to the emergency room now. Some of them listened, some of them didn't.
Yeah.
Piercing headaches, like piercing, like just blurred vision and loss of vision and piercing headaches. Something's probably not right there. I'd rather err on the side of caution than have an issue. So there's times I just had a lady come in last week and her left leg was swollen and hot. And I'm like, what's going on? She goes, well, we just traveled back from out of the country. And she goes, I can't move my leg. And I'm like, I think you have a blood clot. Like, you need to go now. Because if that dislodges, that's a problem. So she went to the emergency room, and thank the Lord she did not have a blood clot. I mean, I'm glad they did the ultrasound and they checked, and no blood clot. But I erred on the side of caution because I don't want an issue for this person and anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking about immediately the millions of people, the cajillions of reviews that you have of, raving fans experiencing success in your practice, whether it's getting out of pain or getting into health. And I'm curious, as I'm looking at this final question asked by our friends at Google, how do the majority of folks know that they're actually getting progress, making progress under your care, and how do you, as a chiropractor, measure progress within a care plan or as you're helping people through the course of time?
So the first thing we do is we ask. We review the chief complaint. We review where they've been. What can they do now that they couldn't do? And I tell them, it's not going to be hallelujah. You're here. No, 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 no. It's a process. It didn't happen overnight, even though you think it did. It's a process. So are you getting out of a chair easier? Can you stand longer? Can you garden? Like the things they want to do. And then always checks and balances. We do progress x-rays. We do progress exams, seeing their range of motion, seeing the physical things showing up, the changes. We love seeing the changes in the x-rays. And sometimes, I take care of patients. 22 years I've been in practice here. So we've been taking care of patients and I'll update their pictures, their x-rays, and I'll say, well, it hasn't progressed and it hasn't gotten worse. If you were not under care, this definitely would have gotten worse. But they're doing great. Their x-rays did not show it, but they're doing great. They're able to swim and exercise and do those things they want to do. So
Absolutely.
that's how we monitor their progress.
That's awesome. We, yeah, we're, I'm I am currently 5 months under care with a new chiropractor, and I won't steal too much time here, but me and 7 other guys just went on a 208.1 mile run this past weekend through the mountains, and about total 10, 11, 12 miles of elevation gain and loss throughout the 208 miles. So it's just an insane course, and chiropractic was a huge part of my training and a huge part of my recovery, and where I do feel like I'm close to optimal health. It's easy to look back at chiropractic, having been in it for a while now, and realize it was 2 days after that 208.1 mile run, I am as close to fully recovered as I could be, and there's just no way I'd be there without chiropractic. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that to be in alignment, to have the interference removed, and to feel like I'm living my best life. So grateful for that. It's officially time, Dr. Tracy, I've had fun this whole conversation, but it's about to get even more fun. And if you're listening to the conversation, we want to know what you would say as well. This is a hot seat, so we can go through this quick. We have 5 would you rather scenarios, Dr. Tracy, and we're going to start with number 1 here. Would you rather have the ability to fly or be invisible?
Fly. What's the purpose of being invisible?
I've always thought invisibility is kind of a creepy, it's more of a creepy superpower. Yeah, I'm with you. Fly. All right. You could have gotten up above the clouds and seen the eclipse a few weeks ago, and like everybody, maybe like people in New York got to see it on that jet. So, would you rather have a personal chef or a personal masseuse?
Personal chef. We've had them in the past. I think we've had over the years 4 different personal chefs. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm sure there's a lot of people jealous too. But if you're listening, personal chef or personal masseuse, we want to know. Number 3, would you rather live in a treehouse in the forest or a houseboat on a lake?
So this is very funny. It's going to be a houseboat, but my husband wants to live on a houseboat on the ocean or on water, and I'm like, I don't want to live on a house, like the dampness, the sloshing. I'm like, I've been on boats, and but I'm all about water, so it's got to be a houseboat. So he was very happy when I said that.
Yeah, get you a houseboat. It's time. Get you a houseboat. There's got to be some pretty lakes or rivers or something near you. If you've seen how they do it, I mean, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll tie this thing off to 3 or 4 anchored points on land close by, and they'll anchor it down so you don't have a lot of that movement for the most part, because you're not usually getting from A to B. You're camping out at a certain spot on the lake. But get you a houseboat. Would you rather have the power to teleport anywhere instantly or the ability to read minds?
I said teleport. I travel so much. My new grandbaby is 2.5 hours away. I'd like to just be there and not sit in a car for 2.5 hours to get there. But I travel so much, so I'd rather teleport.
All right, all right, all right. Would you rather be able to speak and understand all languages or be able to play every musical instrument proficiently?
Speak languages so I can communicate. So communicate chiropractic, communicate the love of God, all of that. I rather have languages.
That is so, I wasn't even thinking that way with this question. um, but absolutely, I love that you went there. I was thinking about babies. Be able to speak gaga goo goo a little bit better. So my 1-year-old, when he's hurting, I can understand a little bit better. But that's amazing. So if you're watching this and you're listening, make sure you put your answers in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel. We've had, I don't know, 200 people subscribe in the last little bit. We've had tons of comments and likes, and we're grateful for all those that are listening in. We're enjoying the conversation. If you're enjoying it, make sure you do all the things. Like, subscribe, comment, let us know you're listening. And thanks for joining us for another episode. Dr. Tracy, it's been a blast. Grateful for you. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you. Blessings.